and local from Fox 7 News. This is Good Day Austin.
It's a deadly week in Central Texas for motorcycle riders with 5 fatal accidents. Now police have a warning.
And a proposed city ordinance could be cooking up some trouble for barbecue restaurants in Austin. Our Nick Spinetto has that story.
Plus, weather officials meeting in Austin for a hurricane conference. Tanya has more on that coming up. I would imagine people in town for the hurricane conference will stop off and get some great barbecue.
Barbecue.
Do that right there. Anyway, the weather's changing a bit as we move through the work week.
Yeah, hard to believe we're, what, a couple months away from hurricane season?
Yeah, when does it begin? June 1st, I believe.
June 1st, yeah. It'll be here before you know it. I can't believe it's almost April.
I know.
And as we wrap up March, it's going to be mostly cloudy, warm, humid, breezy. Kind of like yesterday. The forecast isn't going to change a whole lot. We're going to be on the lookout for some thunderstorms to be on the loose late in the day along the dry line out in West Texas. Some of those have a slight chance of reaching and surviving long enough the western hill country. But we're rain-free and storm-free this morning. Winds starting to crank up out of the south, keeping us warm and humid. Yeah, the high humidity is back. Kiddos won't need the jacket, won't need the rain gear. 60s this morning, 70s at lunch, and then highs right around 82. Looks like our rain chances will increase starting tomorrow as this low makes a move toward Texas. We'll break down that forecast for the week ahead in just a few moments. But right now, send it out to Brady Rock. Lacing traffic. Hey, Brady.
Hey, thanks, Zach. We are starting to see some more slowdowns. There, 35 near 51st Street. Pretty heavy there as you get into downtown. The backup growing. It's slow pretty much up to Runberg, maybe up to Breaker right now. I'm starting to see these throughout the area, especially now in Mopac. We have an accident working. Mopac southbound. It's going to be just before 45th Street, and traffic basically stopped all the way up to Research. I'm Brady LaRocque, Fox 7 Traffic Edge.
Brady, thanks. And again, there was another fatal motorcycle crash last night, raising the number to 5 in just a week here in Central Texas. This one happened around 9:30 last night on 183 in Leander. The rider was headed south on the highway. As he went through the intersection at Osage, he was hit by a blue Kia turning left from 183. The rider died at the scene. Police are still putting the pieces together to figure out exactly what happened.
The initial report saying that he didn't see him coming. They think he may not have had his lights on. The motorcycle may not have had his lights on. We're not sure of that yet.
Police say the motorcycle rider was approximately a 20-year-old man. The driver of the Kia, a 45-year-old man, was taken to the hospital to be treated for some minor injuries.
Texas and barbecue go hand in hand, but some Austinites have a beef with it. Now, the City Council is considering an ordinance to limit the amount of smoke coming from those pits. Fox 7's Spinetto is live in South Austin with the details. Nick, hard to believe this story. There's so many barbecue aficionados here in Texas.
It's hard to believe, but it is true. Certainly, this proposed ordinance is the result of a dispute between neighbors and people who live near the Terry Black's barbecue. And here's the issue: people who live here say the smell from the barbecue pits is constant. It is overwhelming. They've even threatened a lawsuit, and that's why the owners of the restaurant wouldn't go on camera with us. So City Council is getting involved. City Council member Sabina Rentiera is proposing a resolution that would force a limit to the smoke by requiring the restaurants to install systems known as smoke scrubbers, which can cost thousands of dollars. And food trailers would also have to stay a certain distance away from residential property lines. All of this could be costly for business owners.
It's not necessarily about like, oh, we're the trailer, we're the little guy. That's the problem. We're all little people. We're local business. We're what makes this community a community.
I sympathize with the owner, but he needs to find a way to just eliminate all that smoke into the neighborhood.
Now, the Austin City Council is expected to talk more about this proposed ordinance later this week. That's when the public will have a chance to weigh in before any further action or even a vote is taken. Back to you.
All right, Nick, thank you for that.
Law enforcement cracking down on repeat offenders, focusing on those who own multifamily apartment complexes. Yesterday, code enforcers visited the Salinas apartments in southeast Austin. It's one of about 30 on the city's repeat offender list. Code enforcement say several violators were found at the complex, including violations found, including one serious problem. A second floor railing was found separating from a building. They officially notified the owners about that problem.
Is the goal to get everything back up to code by the end of the year? Not by the end of the year, because the registration program for the initial phase of it is 2 years. So we'll do this inspection here this year, and then they have one more. And if they're cleared up by the end of that second one, then they can come off. If not, they stay on it until they've cleared everything up and they don't meet the criteria anymore.
Today, the inspection team is scheduled to visit Copper Tree Apartments. Work crews were on site there yesterday, painting and doing some repairs along the walkways and in the parking areas.
Texas lawmakers are in the middle of battling over the state budget, but that's not all that's going on under the Capitol Dome today. Lauren's in the studio with this story. Lauren.
Well, today the Texas House takes on its $210 billion budget proposal. That includes spending more money to put body cameras on troopers patrolling the border and adding an extra $800 million for public schools. The budget would also cut funding for environmental regulators. Some amendments have been added, but they have little to no chance of passing. That includes abolishing the Texas lottery and defunding an alternatives to abortion program. The House is expected to pass its version today, and the Senate will also meet today. Texas lawmakers are hoping to crack down on cases of abuse at nursing homes around the state. The Senate has approved a 3-strikes plan. It would allow the state to revoke the licenses of nursing homes that have been cited for resident abuse or neglect 3 times in a 2-year period. Republican Senator Charles Schwertner of Georgetown drafted the measure. It passed unanimously yesterday and now heads to the House for approval. Records show that the Department of Aging and Disability Services issued nearly 19,000 violations against nursing homes in 2013, but only took 11 enforcement actions. And the state Senate gives preliminary approval to a change in the way public schools are rated across Texas. Currently, schools are judged on a pass-fail system in which they either meet standards or need improvement. But now the Senate has passed a new rating system that will give schools a letter grade from A through F. The proposal passed 20-10 yesterday. Conservatives praised the proposal, saying it will be easier to understand. But some Democrats worry that students at an F-graded school will have a stigma associated with them, and poor ratings will only reflect inadequate funding instead of poor education quality. The proposal now only needs a final procedural vote before it heads to the House for consideration. If the new rating system passes, it will be implemented for the 2017-2018 school year. Again, both chambers will reconvene later this morning. Back to you at the desk.
Lauren, thank you for that. We have all seen the catastrophic effects that major hurricanes like Katrina can have in this week. Emergency Center workers, along with the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service, will be in Austin to discuss what can be done to keep people safe during hurricanes. Fox 7's Tanya Ortega joins us live from the Austin Convention Center, where the National Hurricane Conference is taking place this week. Good morning, Tanya.
Hey, good morning, Amanda. And weather experts from the Gulf, the East Coast, even the Caribbean are going to be here this week talking about what they can do to work together to keep people safe. And they're also going to be talking about new tools that they're going to be unveiling in the next year. So the National Hurricane Center is unveiling a new storm surge warning, and it hopes to have it in place by 2016. Right now, a warning is for those who are going to get hit with the hurricane force winds, but they want those who live in the storm surge evacuation area to also have a way to know whether they're in danger. That's because a storm surge has the potential to kill the most people when a hurricane threatens. The National Hurricane Center also tells us it just takes one to hit an area to cause major damage. And just because we live inland here in Austin, that doesn't mean we don't have to be prepared.
The hurricane is not just a coastal event. It carries strong winds well inland. If a storm is moving fast enough, it can bring strong winds well inland. It can also bring a lot of heavy rainfall and flooding. The second leading cause of death from hurricanes is inland flooding.
Now, the convention runs through Thursday here at the Convention Center, and of course we are expecting to hear for those predictions from NOAA in the next few months to see what we can expect for this hurricane season. I'm going to send it back to you.
A lot of people paying attention to that. Tanya, thank you.
Well, the prosecution has wrapped up its case in the Boston Marathon bombing trial. Up next, we'll have a recap of what went on in court yesterday.
No hurricane worries just yet. All eyes on the West Texas dry line. That could be our storm generator later on today. It looks like most of the action will stay out there, but it could get a little bit closer to us. We're tracking a Pacific low that could force some of those showers and storms closer to us. We're talking rain chances and then a cool down in that 7-day forecast coming up next.